Okay, so to help us just switch over from our cerebral thinking into our spiritual connection, we're going to take in three great big long breaths. And as you're breathing in, imagine that you're breathing in air that is infused with light, which is infused with spiritual connection. So we'll do the first breath now. So imagine taking this big long breath of light right deep down into your diaphragm, then hold your breath on a full breath. Then imagine you're pushing the light up into your head center as you're holding your breath. And then gently release on the out breath. On the in breath, if you push your tongue onto the roof of your mouth, it also activates some of the connections up to our pineal. So let's take another big long breath in. Breath of spiritually infused light, then hold our breath. Imagine pushing the light into your head center and then relaxing on the out breath. And we'll do three of these. Just go at your own pace. Okay, now as we just continued sort of just a good rhythmical breathing, still imagine that you're breathing in light. And now on the out breath, just imagine that you're exhaling or releasing any emotional residue from the day or the week behind you. And imagine that's just falling back into the quantum field of Earth. So we're still breathing in light, but we're letting go of emotional residue, just like ash falling back to the ground. When we come to the next out breath, just relaxing the muscles around your neck and shoulders. Often we carry a little bit of tension there from the earth, and we're going to return that back to the earth. So our spirit is letting go of that tension in our body. And we're still breathing in light. And now letting go of any tension around our jaw, around our cheeks, and around our eyes. Just let anything ebb away. Now, hands and arms just resting heavily. And just picturing your feet heavy upon the floor, so your legs are also quite relaxed, and your spirit is just relinquishing a little bit of its hold on the physical body. Now, switching our consciousness now to the periphery of our body, imagining that we are sitting in a field of golden shimmering light, pure divine frequency of light. And this frequency of light is expanding right across your room. And it is also expanding interdimensionally up in towards the fifth dimension, or whatever terminology you're accustomed to. So in a sense, this field of energy, divine energy, is reaching upward to connect interdimensionally with our higher guides. Okay, and now we will open the group spiritually. So, great divine spirit, we ask that you shine your light, your love, your wisdom, presence and protection upon our group. And though we are geographically spread across the earth, may we be united on the soul and spiritual planes. We give acknowledgement to the presence of our angels and archangels, our spiritual guides, and other divine celestial beings who wish to work with us and serve the highest good. We also welcome in any of our loved ones in spirit and appeal to our personal gatekeepers to protect the space in which we physically sit and to ensure that whatever spiritual and energetic impulses come to us come only from the divine source that serve only the highest good, and may all else be filtered out. Okay. Now we'll just set our own personal intention for this session and just imagine that you're communicating that telepathically to your guides, and I will set one generally on behalf of the group. The great divine spirit, we come here for our soul and spiritual development, that we may align more readily to our true life purpose, to our higher self, and to source itself as well. That we may bring more of our higher spiritual gifts and truths into our earthly pathway, that we may learn and glean all the wisdom and goodness of the experiences of being human here on earth, whilst bringing more love, compassion, and goodness onto each plane of our existence. Some of us come for healing, some for spiritual guidance, some for this enlightenment. Whatever it is, may each of us receive what will help us on our pathway at this time. Okay, so just allowing that intention to resolve with our guides and for a harmonization of such of our group energy. Okay, the next step is we shall go through what we call our chakra opening exercise. And we are in this lead up, this build up to the Lionsgate portal, which comes to fruition in a week's time. And this is a time when the sun enters Leo, and it's also the rising of Sirius in conjunction with the sun, which is quite symbolic and significant, particularly in ancient Egyptian times, and the alignment of the stars in the belt of Orion with the pyramids in Giza. So there is an astrological alignment, and this somehow brings the spiritual world in a more harmonic convergence with Earth, especially given that some of our spiritual ancestors are from the star system of Sirius. So we can imagine now that we are sitting in this portal of light. We activated this golden, silvery frequency of light. Now, if we just reform this picture that we are sitting in like in a portal of this light that extends upward interdimensionally, and also below us extending down deep into the earth. And within this portal is essentially a place where time itself does not exist. The linearity of time is dissolved into a whole living matrix. We'll hold that thought in mind as we firstly focus upon our crown chakra and this activation within this portal of our crown chakra of sparkling amethyst-like energy coming down into the crown of our heads, through our mind, down through the vertical midline of our body, activating other minor chakras on the way through our heart, through our lower chakras, right down through our feet, and deep down into Mother Earth, forming a vertical bridge of frequency from source to the heart of Mother Earth. In one sense, we're acting as a messenger from source to the heart of Mother Earth, bringing our gratitude, our acknowledgement, along with this connection of human intent and endeavor, and also paying respect and acknowledgement to all of the elemental beings of Earth and all of the nature spirits as well, for all that sustains life on Earth. Now, following this flow back up from Earth, back up through our feet, back up through this flow, up through our mind, out through our crown, and in this perpetual flow from above to below, in continuity and perpetuity. And we can follow this flow down to our third eye with the intention of being cool-headed in the sense that we may perceive the full truthfulness in things, but having the cool-headedness and clarity to exercise right thinking. It's almost as if we are tuning our third eye into a receptive state of truth. And coming down to our throat chakra, focusing on this portal just inside your larynx, that we may also be receptive to the spiritual truths being spoken by those around us, and being very discerning in being able to hear and perceive between the lines, and for us to communicate our higher truth. Like a turquoise frequency of light on this frequency. And this beautiful blending of this frequency with the third eye and with the crown. And then we come back down in line with our physical heart, like just in our center line, and imagining this portal within ourselves of our own divinity, of our own divine light, which is a source of unconditional love. With this spark of love within ourselves, just expanding like waves through our body of pure, unconditional love, pure acceptance of self, pure respect and love of self, unconditionally. And allow that to sweep through your body, almost like a healing wave. And allow this wave of unconditional love to also sweep through your auric field, and also interdimensionally to connect with our guides on a frequency of love, human love, or unconditional source love. And continuing down to our solar plexus, to the home of our own higher self within ourself, right in our center part of our being, and just picturing like the sun, your own personal sun within yourself, connecting to your higher oversoul. So many centuries, many millennia of experiences of our higher soul, its celestial travelings, and we are opening up or reconnecting filaments of consciousness and connection to our higher self. And allowing this beautiful golden yellow light of ourself to shine down towards our lower emotions as we switch to our sacral chakra of beautiful orange, clear orange, bringing awareness to our emotions with the intent that we may master our emotions and particularly transmute lower frequency emotions into higher frequency drive to align with our true life purpose. Turning doubts and anger and frustrations, etc., into higher aspects of possibility. Okay, down to our base chakra, our pure life essence, as if we can tap in to the fountain of youth, that we can have this pure life force entering up through our base of our spine. And with our mind, every molecule in our body is being reactivated, re-enlivened with pure life essence, recalibrating any dormant ions in our body. And as mentioned earlier, reactivating our fractals back in alignment with Source. Okay, now as we move back up our vertical line from our base, through our sacral, through our solar plexus, just imagine each of these chakras coming into alignment. We can also appeal to our spiritual guides to assist with the harmonization. And the balancing. And as we move up, we'll move up through our solar plexus, up through our heart, up through our throat, through our third eye, up through our mind, through our crown. And we'll just continue symbolically upward through this portal that we've activated. Just imagine that we're gently drifting further upward in terms of frequency. And as we do so, there's a corresponding connection coming toward us from higher realms. And somewhere we meet together in a blend. And just allow ourselves to harmonize and blend with our higher self in the presence of our guides. Okay, all right. Okay, for anyone who's new, this certainly is not a religious group, but I have just heard the name Jesus called out. So I'm just going to go with this and follow this connection. Okay. My friends, this term of ascension that is spoken about in your world, it has various meanings on different levels. The initial step for humanity is in this lower realm of human emotions. And as one becomes or exercises more mastery over your human emotions, it allows you to essentially connect more readily to your higher aspect. The more that you succumb and enable the frustrations and the perceived difficulties of your life in your world, the more that your frequency is lowered and the more that you are essentially disconnected from source and you are drawn into a lower realm as such, which may be termed as Ahrimanic or materialistic or whatever term you wish to place onto it, but it draws you further away from the sublime higher frequency, that of source. That is the initial step. The other aspect here is your own physicality and preserving and enhancing the frequency of your physicality. And this from everything from what you place into your body physically in terms of food, in terms of water, even in terms of the air that you breathe, the degree to which you can activate it or spiritualize it or to enhance its frequency before consuming it affects also the degree to which you can step and ride on this ascension pathway. There are many different degrees to this, but the one that I've outlined is the initial starting point. We then move into areas of your life purpose. And essentially, in order for the earth to ascend, it becomes more lives of humanity that are directed more to the highest good. This does not involve necessarily selling all belongings and living a completely non-material life, but it more centers upon an intention and actions which serve the broader goodness of humanity in whatever way you have a capacity to do so. For example, it could involve for you living and working in a very mundane job, but at the same time, extending and projecting goodness and love and hope into the broader world. And then within yourself, there is a corresponding transformation of what you are projecting into the world. It is a cycle. The more that you project of goodness into the world, the more that it is drawn in to your being from the source world. It is simply a law of attraction. What you sort of give is what you receive. It is another form of karma, but on a more of an energetic level. And these are the kind of cycles that fit together. At the beginning of this meditation, you went through this activation of your chakras. And chakras do not work in isolation. They work in a unity of an energy field, one with the other. And if one is out of order or out of balance, then the whole entity of yourself then suffers. The key is integration of yourselves on all levels. And part of the journey of humanity, when we speak of ascension, is not that you are going to relinquish your physical presence and reality on your planet, but that you are going to expand through your consciousness bandwidths of awareness and potential through being able to perceive and reach more consciously into the higher realms. And so as a human being, yes, you live a physical life upon your earth, but you're also leading a very active and creative role from the more sublime levels and layers of existence, as essentially approaching more pure divine source fields. As human beings incarnated in your body, at this stage, it is very difficult, if not impossible, for humans to consciously connect with pure absolute source on a conscious level. But within the bandwidth of existence, from your earth plane to the source world, are other spiritual divine beings who serve as part of that bridge. Hence, the angelic world with the angels, archangels, and the other archai. And then there are realms and layers of hierarchies above those to the cherubim and the seraphim. And together, the whole universe is interconnected. Each of these beings are interconnected with you. You are part of this whole universal existence. And part of the travesty of humanity is that the ego of each individual human being has made human beings into too much of an individuality as such, or a world of individuals who have essentially lost this connection to the source and to who is essentially the family of one in the spiritual worlds. As a result, humans are somewhat languishing, but there are other reasons for this as well. Part of it is the evolutionary growth of humans on a soul and spiritual level, of which you are playing a significant role. The other part is what has been referred to as a hybridization of the human genetic code over eons of time as well. But whatever these changes are that have been effected upon the human being, they can all be worked into a positive stream of existence for humanity. And as this vertical expansion of human consciousness continues to evolve and to bloom, whether you are incarnated or not will make lesser and lesser difference as humanity evolves, to the point where one may almost choose to what degree they will be incarnated and to what degree they'll be more active on the spiritual plane and then moving from one to the other. That is a much longer term perspective of the human evolutionary pathway. But what we wish to extend to you now is really this broader perspective of the role of humanity in universal consciousness. That humanity is not an individualized civilization on a distant planet. It is a very integral part of universal consciousness and awareness. And you also have the ability, as you know, through what you refer to as astral traveling, to one day be able to travel through portals of time and space to learn and understand other civilizations on a conscious level as well, and eventually becoming these galactic citizens as such. The interconnection of all is such an amazing and wonderful place. It is a new threshold of humanity to be arriving at this particular threshold. There is quite some work to be done before humans can fully step across the threshold. But there are more and more and more of you joining in unison at this point in your existence, where the frequency of Earth is rising to a point, and the frequency of the spiritual world is also activating correspondingly, that the portals will open and the flow will become as a whole. And we'll leave you with that thought, my friends. And we're sitting in the bandwidth of that frequency and just allowing the essence of that transmission just to work through us. It is light codes that come with these words, and we're just giving permission for those light codes to work subtly upon our energy fields. Through our astral field on more of an electromagnetic basis, and then densifying into our life force or our etheric field, which penetrates into our lymphatic, into our blood, into our nervous systems, and eventually into our physicality. And this in turn connects us down through our earth star chakra beneath our feet to earth, recalibrating our connection with earth. And just as we have described or outlined humanity's role with other hierarchies towards source, humanity also provides a certain similar role to that of Gaia, who is in a more densified state than human beings. So just as human beings have access to the angelic world, Mother Earth will also have access to the human world in terms of their spirituality. There is a similar parallel here to a child understanding their parent and a parent understanding their child, though they will eventually live separate lives. We can also just hold like a picture or a sense within ourselves of transformation from one state to another, like the butterfly from the chrysalis or the caterpillar state into its light-bodied state. And just as we can shift from sleeping to waking, we'll be able to shift from conscious cerebral thinking to spiritual awareness thinking and back. What I'm also being shown here is as we consciously build this, let's refer to it as a bandwidth of consciousness from material thinking to source, then you will become more of a sculptor of source and understand how source energy may move through the human construct and be sculpted into matter. And this is the principle of essentially, for example, turning water into wine. It's a symbolic picture. It is the principle of manifesting things in your life. And just allow yourself to drift in the streams of the energy that is around us. Feel free to ask your guides the question and just let it sit in the ether with them. Now, earlier we discussed and explained how every atom of the human being is like a fractal of the universe, and it may be switched on and receiving like a receptive beacon, or it may be switched off, or somewhere in between. For now, just focus on the area around your feet and your hands, the extremities of your body, and imagine that the fractals of your atomic field, molecular structure, are in a state of receptivity from source. And then just either through your imagination or through your perception, imagine that rising up from your feet and hands up through your limbs. And slowly towards your heart. And we have specifically focused upon your feet and hands, not necessarily because they are the extremities of your body from your mind and heart, but because they are the parts of your physical body that make and create and give and serve in your world. And through the will of the human being, it is more important that your limbs and hands are acting in ways of service, whether it is simply through gesture or posture or grace or being able to make or give or receive. But now we're following this flow up through your limbs and in towards your heart, connecting what you do and how you are carried by your limbs to your heart. I've just got a lot of very intense purple energy at my end, interfused with gold. And also now taking this up into your head. And soon the whole field around us is being activated accordingly. Shifting colors. Just being aware of the complete energy field around us, around each of ourselves. And as we breathe, also imagine that every fractal in our being is receiving, breathing in, breathing out in a harmonic manner with the source field around us. Okay, now I'm just extending my gratitude to our spiritual guides. And I believe Jesus played a pivotal role in what was brought through. There was also other contributors, I know. What I've been shown here is like our oversoul, an image of our own oversoul. And in antiquity, we have seen depictions of saintly figures with halos around them. What we would like you to envisage is that this halo effect that you see is none other than your own oversoul being very present with you in your earthly belief system, in your earthly realm. And the depiction of these halos isn't such that someone is holy as such, but that their higher light body or their oversoul is very present around the way they think and feel. Earlier, we spoke about this vertical integration with Source. And what you are seeing in these pictures and depictions is that integration, where there are stories of saintly figures in your world, like St. Francis, who were able to perform almost miracle like acts in your world. And this is because of this vertical connection through their own oversoul or higher self, which in turn has this connection to the elements of Source, to the elements of creation. And in the case of this figure of Brother Francis or Saint Francis, also to the elemental realms of your earth world, to the nature kingdom as such. So many of the stories that you have heard of your saintly figures, they're not miracles as such, but representations of the vertical integration that a human being may have with your higher self and in turn with the creative source world around you. Source is everywhere. It is certainly in the higher echelons of existence, but it is also very present in the nature kingdom around you. This is part of the reason why we, as spiritual guides, have encouraged humans to connect with Earth, particularly with nature, and to feel at one in the natural kingdoms of your Earth, because Source is very present there in different regards, but one as a source of creative force for the human being to become masters of. Become one with your earth. And that in return enables you to become one at one with the greater universe. It is simply a law of alchemy. As above, so below. At oneness below becomes akin to at oneness with all and above. We shall leave you with that thought. Now, we just imagine like this very expansive, like a parachute of light in the distance around us. And we're just pulling that parachute of light with all the good energy around us, just drawing it a little bit more closely into our auric field. Now, in doing so, just as we pull this in the palm of your hand, just picture the being of Mother Earth, the planetary realm of your Earth in the palm of your hand, and embrace it in this love, in this activation that we have created. And then just symbolically placing that warmth for Mother Earth into the etheric heart of Mother Earth, down beneath your Earth Star chakra. It's like we're delivering it down, placing it into one of the inner chambers of Mother Earth's etheric heart. Just honoring her, giving her thanks. And as we are there, just extending to the elemental beings that are around her that we are here and that you are welcome, and we acknowledge you and give our thanks once more. Okay, now we have opened up our solar plexus and sacral chakra, which means we can draw in a lot of negativity from the outside world. So we're going to put our hands symbolically over those chakras. We'll take a deep breath in and then hold our breath. Just imagine those chakras in particular slowing themselves down to the normal size and speed. Then on the out breath, just relinquishing any energetic connections that no longer serve our higher good. And on the periphery of our energy field, just imagine like violet flames of protection burning away any negativity that could come to us from out there.